Hollywood spent decades shielding Ellen DeGeneres from public criticism. She was celebrated as the queen of daytime television, constantly grinning and preaching about being good to others. But the moment that carefully constructed wall began to crack, buried stories rushed to the surface. Now Rob Schneider is speaking his mind without hesitation. Megyn Kelly is refusing to stay quiet too, and together they are dragging old allegations back under the spotlight. Rob even delivered a personal statement directed at Ellen that genuinely stunned a large number of viewers. Here is a complete breakdown of everything that unfolded. During his appearance on Megyn Kelly's program, Rob Schneider did not soften his words or hold anything back.
Well, yeah, that's disingenuous. That's disingenuous.
Megyn was equally blunt, stating that Ellen's polished public persona completely collapsed once people started openly sharing their personal encounters. One specific moment they discussed was Ellen's now widely remembered interview with Dakota Johnson. During that sit-down, Ellen joked that Dakota had left her off the birthday party guest list, but Dakota immediately corrected her, confirming that Ellen had actually been invited. That uncomfortable exchange spread rapidly across the internet, and suddenly audiences began viewing Ellen through an entirely different lens. What was intended to be a lighthearted moment transformed into one of the most talked-about clips of her entire television career.
Yeah. So her show got canceled after she had this testy exchange with Dakota Johnson, where something happened where Dakota said, oh, I had this birthday party, and Ellen said, well, why didn't you invite me? You didn't invite me. And she said, no, I did invite you, Ellen. That's not what happened. And Ellen had blown her off. And then tried to play the victim on the set with her. Anyway, it led to article after article of people being like, Ellen's a bitch. Ellen is a nasty person. And all these staffers started to come out, not for nothing, but I know a guy, I know him very well, whose sister worked for her, who said, you were not allowed to make eye contact with Ellen in the halls of that show. If you saw her, this is not a nice person. So she eventually got canceled, but now she's coming back. She's got a Netflix special. That's the right response.
Yeah.
She's got a Netflix special. And here's the capper. On the promo, and apparently there's now articles out about from people who have seen the preview, she plays the victim. And she says, poor me. And she actually has the nerve to say that she was run out of Hollywood.
Following that, a flood of fresh stories began grabbing public attention. Former crew members and individuals who claimed to have worked in Ellen's orbit started coming forward with their own accounts. According to Megyn Kelly, she personally knew someone whose sister had worked on Ellen's production and allegedly reported that staff members were forbidden from making direct eye contact with Ellen while passing her in the corridors. Then social media poured fuel onto an already burning fire. Everything erupted after one user invited people to share the most outrageous things they had witnessed regarding Ellen's behavior. Thousands of responses flooded in, sparking one of the largest public conversations ever surrounding a celebrity's character. One person claimed they worked at a restaurant Ellen and Portia regularly visited for brunch. That individual alleged Ellen personally sent a written complaint to the restaurant owner because a staff member had chipped nail polish visible on her hand. They wrote that they had worked until closing the previous evening, and this had nearly cost them their job. Whether every account was completely verified or not, the sheer volume of similar stories forced people to take notice. More investigative pieces surfaced, additional former employees spoke openly, and Ellen's carefully maintained reputation continued to deteriorate. Eventually, the controversy grew so overwhelming that her long-running daytime program was brought to a close. Yet the story did not stop there. The following year, Ellen attempted a return through a Netflix comedy special. Rather than successfully rebuilding goodwill, the special ignited yet another wave of backlash.
Ellen DeGeneres rewriting history? That's what some of her former staffers claim she's doing in her new Netflix stand-up special, For Your Approval.
I got kicked out of show business. Yeah. Thanks. Yeah, because I'm mean. Yeah. Yeah, you can't be mean and be in show business. No, they'll kick you out.
She uses jokes to address the controversy.
I was in therapy for a while trying to deal with all the hatred that was coming at me, and at one point my therapist said, Ellen, where do you get this idea that everyone hates you? And I said, well, New York Times, Washington Post, Entertainment Weekly, Us Weekly. I think Elmo may have said something recently on an episode of Sesame Street.
But this producer who worked with her takes issue with how she's addressing allegations that there was a toxic work environment at her legendary talk show.
The essence of the special really was totally a lie.
Hedda Muscat says Ellen's special hits all the wrong notes.
I felt Ellen was not taking responsibility at all. She was sugarcoating it.
The Ellen DeGeneres show went off the air after 19 seasons in May 2022, mired in controversy, including allegations of racism and sexual misconduct. Ellen addressed the allegations back in 2020.
And if I've ever let someone down, if I've ever hurt their feelings, I am so sorry for that.
In the special, Ellen describes the work environment she remembers.
It was a family to me. We had so much fun together at that show. We laughed all the time. We played games all the time.
I felt it was not a family. It was an atmosphere of fear.
So we were in Santa Barbara. We drove by this place and someone's like, that's where Ellen lives. And to Mary Beth, I just said, I think Ellen, every morning she wakes up, Portia's sitting there having a matcha. She definitely gives me matcha energy. And Ellen looks out over all of Santa Barbara and goes, I can't even do it. They tried to cancel me.
Honestly, nobody, not even the people who once worked for her, found her apologies believable. And the fact that she was openly mocking those very same employees inside her Netflix special was genuinely shocking. During her earlier apology, Ellen had appeared emotional, expressing deep regret over her behavior. Yet just a short time later, she was laughing the whole situation off and treating it as though it had never been serious to begin with.
I'm just so sorry.
You're not sorry, so stop acting. I got kids, I'm married, I know exactly what a real apology looks like. I know when I have to give one. It means you're remorseful down in your soul and your spirit. You deeply regret what you've done. You lack all of those qualities. You lack them all. And you are not remorseful. You are not even sorry about what's happening. You're just sorry you got caught. You're just sorry that all that you've worked so hard to build on your lie is now crumbling right before your eyes. And it's not even a rise and a fall. It's just who you truly are. And that's what you're sorry about. So you can keep that apology, because don't nobody want to hear it at all. That's not an apology at all. You want a real apology? Turn yourself in.
Megyn Kelly argued that Ellen deliberately positioned herself as the wronged party, pointing to accounts from individuals who had watched early previews of the special. According to Megyn, Ellen suggested she had essentially been pushed out of the entertainment industry, a claim Megyn firmly rejected. She questioned how a person sitting on an estimated fortune of hundreds of millions could genuinely argue they had been driven out of Hollywood. Megyn also took aim at what she interpreted as Ellen's remarks about unfair treatment toward successful women, arguing that Ellen's extreme wealth and privileged lifestyle made those grievances nearly impossible for ordinary viewers to take seriously.
And she actually has the nerve to say that she was run out of Hollywood. This person
with $100 million in her pocket,
$450 million according to Forbes. That's a low estimate.
Yeah.
Because so now she's out there saying, I was run out of Hollywood. She's actually reportedly complaining about how hard it is for women in America with the double standards.
Look at Oprah, how hard it is for her.
Oh, she's got, like 10 houses, Ellen DeGeneres?
Michelle Obama, look how hard it is for women in America. They're hurting.
They're going to let her back in, Rob, because she's a lesbian, she's a leftist, and she didn't hit one of their sacred cows. Nastiness, that's their bread and butter.
Well, I think everyone... I will say, like, the resentment, I think everyone should have a chance for reconciliation. I don't think Jesus exempted anybody. And so I do, while it does, because I have been allowed back in, but I don't hold any grievance and resentment. It's very important. And I would just say for Ellen, the resentment, you have to know, you have to get over resentment to whatever addiction or addictive qualities happen. To get over it, you have to deal with resentment and address it And then otherwise you're going to fall back into the same pattern. And I think also
I'm
to
just saying,
admit
like,
your
of
mistakes.
all people on earth to be feeling sorry for herself, Ellen DeGeneres should not be on the list.
She should at least, but make a real apology and do it.
There's no apology. It's just woe is me. I was run out of Hollywood as she speaks from this grandiose stage on Netflix. Hello, you haven't been canceled if you are doing a Netflix special. She got $20 million for the one before this. I'm sure she's fine.
I'm sure she's fine.
Various reports place Ellen's total net worth at roughly $500 million. She has also built a well-known reputation for purchasing, redesigning, and reselling high-end properties valued in the millions. But according to Megan, the central problem was never Ellen's financial success. The real issue was her persistent refusal to genuinely own her mistakes. When the workplace misconduct controversy first broke, Ellen stated she had been unaware of what was taking place behind the scenes on her own production. Critics countered that this explanation held little weight, given that similar grievances had emerged across multiple years from a wide range of staff members and guests.
How does the Ellen we see on TV compare to the Ellen you saw when the camera stopped rolling?
Totally different. She would only speak to the audience when the cameras were rolling. As soon as they turned the cameras off, she would not even acknowledge the audience. She would just sit on the couch, basically. Even when she exited, she just said what she had to say on camera and then walked off.
Dana appeared in the Make It Rain segment, where guests can be drenched with money or water after they answer trivia questions. Wet and shivering, Dana says she was treated horribly by producers afterwards.
They told us they were gonna give us dry clothes to change into, so they had us waiting in a hallway by the bathroom, and it's almost like they forgot about us because we were waiting there for a good 45 minutes.
One particularly disturbing incident involved one of the most iconic music artists alive, Mariah Carey. Back in 2008, Mariah appeared as a guest on Ellen's program while carrying a child she had not yet shared with the public. Throughout the interview, Ellen persistently pushed Mariah to confirm the pregnancy live on air. At one moment, she even handed Mariah a drink, implying that declining it would be as good as a public confirmation. Mariah appeared visibly distressed and made repeated attempts to redirect the conversation elsewhere.
You and I both really know now that Miss Ellen, not as nice as she portrayed on TV. Now, the most awkward, uncomfortable, and borderline unethical interview that Ellen did has to be Mariah Carey. Mariah Carey was on the Ellen DeGeneres show in 2008, and Ellen obviously has to pry and bring up the pregnancy rumors that were circulating at the time. She didn't just do that, though. In order to pressure an answer out of her, she made her drink champagne live on TV.
Is that people are saying that that you're pregnant. There's rumors. Don't discuss that. All right. Well, you don't.
Mariah didn't want to release that she was pregnant yet because she has had a history of having miscarriages, and it was way too early on. Shortly after the interview, Mariah suffered a miscarriage. She talks all about this in some interviews from 2020 and her book that came out, but that's honestly a very evil thing for someone like Ellen to do with her platform. And Mariah continuously brings up how uncomfortable that moment made her. Whether or not it was real champagne doesn't really matter. It's the fact that she was pressuring her into answering on live TV.
Rob Schneider then weighed in with his own perspective on the matter. He agreed completely that Ellen had deliberately maneuvered the narrative to cast herself as the one being harmed.
Well, I think you should, there's certainly no lack of, I don't sense any humility in that.
No, and no one cares that now she's dealing with chickens. It's like, all right,
You're a normal $450 million person.
And by the way, I guarantee you she's
Who's
worth
taking
a
care
lot
of her
more.
chickens? I guarantee, what's that? You guarantee what?
She's worth a lot more than
yeah.
$450 million.
Her art alone.
And those talk show hosts.
Her devil-worshipping art alone.
It's just, it's too much. I can't stand these rich celebrities who want us to feel sorry for them. We don't, right? It's like all those you saw, like Julia Roberts on the Oprah special with Kamala Harris.
The pattern with Ellen seems remarkably consistent. She maintains a cheerful front until the truth surfaces, at which point she repositions herself as the injured party. Consider her earlier years and her relationship with Anne Heche as a clear example. During that era, Ellen openly acknowledged she was going through an extremely difficult stretch. In various interviews, she described herself as depressed, financially drained, and effectively shut out of the industry. Many believed Hollywood had deliberately turned against her following her landmark decision to publicly come out. It was an undeniably painful chapter. Around that same period, her romantic connection with actress Anne Heche also came apart. The two had been together from 1997 through 2000, and initially both characterized the split as civil and amicable. However, years down the line, Ann told a dramatically different version of events.
We're moving into a next step, hopefully. And hopefully I have some more intelligence, I know I do, around it because I've studied it to be able to communicate a little bit better about what happened 20 years ago and the fact that it's taken us 20 years to be able to be at a point where we can listen to the truth again.
And Ellen's fine. She can sit on her pile of money.
I hope you like your money because that's why I broke up with you. Do you like sitting on your piles of cash? Because guess what? It gets you exactly where you are. And by the way, baby, and it's what you wanted then, and I hope you're liking it now. Cheers.
You broke up with her because she had a lot of money, or you broke up with her because...
I broke up with her because her goal was to have a lot of money, and mine was to find love, and hers was I want 60 billion. Good luck. Our forks are never going to meet. The further we stay on with this, the further we will be apart.
Okay. She didn't live in that love and kindness,
No,
did
she didn't. But you and I don't talk about...
She wasn't a
revenge a lot, you know.
No, we don't. There's one thing that I remember. There is one little nugget that I do have a sense of wanting a little bit of. I guess the only word is revenge. I feel that you were so wronged, and now to know that you were continuing to be wronged, it fires me up a little bit, and especially when you look at somebody like Ellen, who literally is sitting on a pile of $60 billion, and then
could feed countries,
right? And then
but you got a Porsche.
I mean, you're not her.
She alleged that Ellen had been intensely controlling throughout their time together, and further claimed that following their separation, Ellen leveraged her considerable influence within Hollywood to quietly sabotage her professional opportunities, making it significantly harder for her to secure acting roles and other career projects.
Fear has a very big force. It's not as big as love's, obviously. But I do want to say, you teased about this before, but that I was the original canceled, and I am going to be the original uncanceled. I am uncanceled today. I am finished with that. This is what I say. Goodbye. Watch out. You're f***ed.
So we have officially uncanceled Ann H.
I'm uncanceled, folks.
Now that we're talking about it,
I guess the truth's out now.
Okay, well, what is the truth? Because let's go, I guess. Let's go.
Okay, ask me a question and I will answer. I've been waiting to tell my truth for 20 years.
Nobody knew it was going to be today, but it is. Sometimes you just feel it and you go with it and the time is right.
Well,
and you sit on something for long enough that it's time to talk about it.
Yes, and the other dominator is with her people, apparently.
So I know from what I have read that Ellen has always said that she has no idea why you ended it with her. Can you answer that question once and for all? Okay.
I'm sorry. Do I have allergy?
Okay, fine. Let's let our viewers know.
Well,
why?
First of all, I've written a book about some of the truths, and the second one will be coming out shortly. The fact of the matter is, if anybody chooses to look at the truth, the signs and the reasons of their arrival.
In the wake of Ellen's show being canceled, a new wave of serious allegations emerged, implicating not only Ellen herself, but also several high-ranking executives connected to the production.
Pretty much, but that's not all, because then 36 more allegations surfaced, all from former employees, not only against Ellen, but also against 3 of the show's executive producers directly. There were more than 10 allegations of against executive producer and head writer Kevin Lemon. 5 allegations of touching were made against executive producer Ed Glavin, and executive producer Jonathan Norman was accused by one former employee of attempting to perform on him, with 3 other employees corroborating that that employee had told him about the incident at the time. All 3 producers denied the allegations, but all of that talk leads to Warner Media, the corporate entity behind the show, to begin an investigation looking into all these different allegations. Executive producers Ed Glavin and Kevin Lamont were fired, and Jonathan Norman also ended up leaving. Ellen addressed the entire situation on season 18 premiere in September of 2020. She called her summer great sarcastically and then said, quote, "I'm so sorry to the people that were affected. I take responsibility for what happens on my show," end quote. She also joked, quote, "Being known as the kind lady is a tricky position to be in," end quote. For many former employees and viewers, the apology felt pretty empty. Also, not everything that I'm telling you guys has been confirmed to be 100% true. Let's make that clear. I'm not accusing anything of anyone. I'm just explaining Ellen's career path, okay? But it's up to you guys to form your own opinion. On that note, do you guys remember this guy? Yeah, unfortunately, I do too. I have to say that in hindsight, one of the clips from Ellen's show that doesn't quite feel right is one from 2020 when Ellen surprised a group of 8 children with cancer with him. Granted, back then, nobody knew the despicable things that this man was doing in secret, but him being affectionate with these little kids, I don't know. It doesn't help that her birthday tweet to him refers to him by name, but ends with, quote, "Or as I call him, Cuddle McNuggle stuff. You don't need to know why," end quote. If that makes you feel weird, you're not alone. The Ellen Show ended in May of 2022. The final episode was filmed April 18th of 2022 after 19
Ellen would soon find herself under an even harsher public microscope as devastating news arrived. In August 2022, Ellen's former companion Anne Heche was involved in a catastrophic vehicle collision in Los Angeles. She sustained life-threatening injuries and tragically died just days afterward. While the official inquiry concluded the crash was accidental, the timing drew intense scrutiny online. Because Anne had previously spoken candidly about her history with Ellen and had reportedly been developing new professional projects prior to her death, speculation exploded across social media. As users began digging deeper into the circumstances, many began suggesting the incident appeared far less coincidental and far more deliberate.
Currently standing in front of the house where actress Anne Heche crashed her car back in August 2022. A crash that has left more questions than answers. That morning, Anne walked into a hair shop in Venice, California. The owner said she walked in, saw a red wig up on the shelf, wanted the red wig. He told her it wasn't styled. She said no worries, made the purchase. He recognized who she was and asked for a selfie. They took a selfie together, which is still up on his Instagram. The owner of the wig shop, Richard Glass, said that she was completely normal, didn't seem impaired, she wasn't slurring her words, thought the interaction seemed completely normal. Just after that seemingly normal encounter, she was captured behind the wheel of her blue Mini Cooper and was also involved with 2 hit-and-run incidents earlier that morning before the crash. In this photo taken from the scene of one of the hit-and-runs, you can see the red wig on her passenger seat as well as what looks like a vodka bottle in the cup holder of her car. To most people, that photo looks like proof that she was drinking. But here's the thing. According to the coroner's toxicology report, there was no alcohol in her system reported during the time of the crash. No active drugs were found either, just small traces of cocaine and cannabinoids from prior use. So if she wasn't intoxicated, why was she driving like she was running from something? Anne's car was captured on doorbell camera footage, zooming down this street at an extremely high rate of speed. As you can see, there's a stop sign here. She blew completely through that stop sign, somehow managed not to hit any oncoming traffic. This is a very busy street, and plowed straight into this home right here, and was trapped so deep inside that the house and the car caught fire, and she wasn't able to be rescued for 45 minutes. Most disturbing part of this case is aerial helicopter footage showed Anne Heche being put onto a stretcher. You can see a body in some type of bag on a stretcher being wheeled into the back of an ambulance, when all of a sudden the zipper breaks open and you see Anne Heche emerge suddenly out of this body bag, what looks like a body bag, and prop herself up as if she's trying to get off the stretcher or get out of the bag. They push her back down and she's put into the back of the ambulance.
Then within just a few months, the entertainment industry was rattled once more as another individual with a direct connection to Ellen was found dead under circumstances that raised serious questions. Stephen Tewitt Boss, the widely adored dancer, DJ, and executive producer of the Ellen DeGeneres show, passed away at just 40 years old. Authorities concluded his death was self-inflicted, and investigators reported no evidence suggesting outside involvement. Despite the official findings, a significant portion of the online community refused to accept that conclusion at face value.
The medical examiner ruled that the cause of death was a self-inflicted wound to the head with no signs of foul play. Twitch had joined the Ellen DeGeneres show as a guest DJ in 2014. In 2020, he was promoted to executive producer. He was universally beloved by the audience, by his colleagues, by those who had worked with him and for him. Another choreographer that was close to Twitch stated that after the 2020 toxic workplace scandal, Twitch had come under immense pressure for publicly supporting Ellen. Quote, people were looking at him like, why are you still supporting this woman? End quote. He stated that he believed that Twitch's mental health had deteriorated significantly in the period following the scandal. So there were people who knew him who had noticed a change in his behavior, but on the other side of that argument, when he passed, his wife only received half of his estate because Twitch did not have a will, which is incredibly odd in a lot of people's opinions. Ellen released a statement, quote, I'm heartbroken. Twitch was pure love and light. He was family and I loved him with all my heart. I will miss him, end quote. The internet was not satisfied with that, and people on the internet once again began to speculate. So there is no credible evidence that Twitch's passing was anything other than what the official investigators concluded that it was. And you guys know I'm not going to tell you anything other than the truth and the actual rulings, but I just thought that it was important to mention because in 2022 and to this day, a significant portion of the internet refuses to accept that Twitch's passing was a result of his choice.
As for Ellen herself, she largely withdrew from Hollywood after everything came to light. Toward the end of 2024, she and Portia de Rossi relocated to the United Kingdom, opting for a considerably more private existence far removed from industry attention. Reports have also connected the couple to upscale property activity in California, though those have been described as brief visits while their primary residence remains overseas. According to Deadline, the 67-year-old is expected to return as the voice of Dory in an upcoming Finding Nemo short production. If those reports hold true, Dory may well be the role that opens Hollywood's doors for Ellen once again. The real question remains whether the public is genuinely prepared to welcome her return, or whether the controversy that dismantled her daytime television legacy will continue shadowing her no matter where she goes next. Subscribe if you enjoyed this video, and we will catch you in the next one. FameX.